Welcome back. We've now got our eye on small caps with a particular focus on sea harvest. The JSE listed seafood and agro-processing company listed in 2017 and has since acquired 9 businesses in its expansion. CEO Felix Ratheb joins us now with a detailed look into the company. Felix, thanks so much for your time this evening. Now, you've expressed your frustration when it comes to the disconnect between sea harvest fundamentals as well as the declining market value. I mean, the share debuted on the JSE at around 12 Rand 50 in 2017. About 8 years later, we are seeing it close to the halfway mark. It's sitting at around 7 Rand 38, 7 Rand 40. What do you make of, the movements in the share price and just the reasoning behind that?
Good evening to you and everyone. I think I look at it from the perspective that our business is very reliant on nature, and fishing can be good or it can be bad. And unfortunately, in the last 3 years, particularly in our hake business, we've seen a decline in what we call catch rates in terms of the fish caught per day. And that would have the effect that you will see declining performance in the business. And I would attribute that predominantly because all the other factors in our business related to the markets where we operate, we're well diversified. We sell predominantly to Europe and Australia. The product is in demand. So you're having an association with nature, which unfortunately doesn't always go your way.
Now, the group has a long history, Felix, been around for about 60 years, listed for about 8 years, and you've been at the helm since about 2013. Walk me through how the group has managed to adapt and, remain relevant throughout the years.
I think the most important thing is to have a very clear vision in terms of what you want to do with the business. So, when I've been with the business for 22 years, and I think the first part of what we were trying to achieve was to really turn the business around and put it on a sound footing going forward. We did that, and then we listed the business on the basis that we needed to raise capital to grow as a group. We were a small company on the West Coast, and we wanted to be a global fishing company. And we've achieved that through a mixture of organic growth and acquisitive growth. So, we bought, I would say, the third biggest hake company in South Africa, which catapulted us to the largest hake fishing company probably in the Southern Hemisphere. We've diversified into pelagics, which we weren't in before. We've diversified into prawns, which we weren't before. So we've built a very diversified portfolio of businesses to try and make sure that we're exposed to all fisheries because of its cyclical nature. When pelagics are going strong, perhaps hake is not. And when prawns are going well, maybe pelagics are not. So that's the logic, to have a diversified business in species, geography, and channel.
Yeah, so diversification, the name of the game for sea harvest. Now, you touched on, the cyclicality of the sector you operate in. And just recapping on the last results, the group has highlighted that, those set of numbers or that period was the toughest year since you have listed. And, of course, we've highlighted those challenges where you've dealt with weak hake catch rates, high interest rates, as well as pressure in prawns and abalone. A few months into the new financial year, Felix, can you confidently say that the worst is past?
Look, it's quite tricky because we're obviously getting close to a reporting period as well.
Okay.
However, the reality is that, one looks at what's happening globally, and the reality is that whitefish, being hake, we compete globally with the likes of cod and haddock around the world. We supply our products to 30 countries around the world. And the reality is that those stocks have gone down where our TAC, our allowed catch, has remained high. And the advantage of that is that there's significant demand product globally. I think that's a big plus. Secondly, in terms of catches, we did report to the market that in January and February, our catches had started to rebound, which is a positive sign for the sector. So I think there are green shoots in terms of, which we highlighted the previous time we presented, that, things are starting to look better on our hake business, our pelagics business. But I do believe that the abalone business will continue to struggle. And the reason is because of the macro environment in China. That's a business very, very reliant on China, and all products that are niche products, whether it be Moet or it be Cuban cigars or whether it be, Louis Vuitton bags, all of them have been affected the same way, and that's where we fit with our abalone. It's an expensive product sold at expensive restaurants.
And you mentioned that growth also hinges on organic growth as well as acquisitions. Talk to me about scaling within the business and how you are doing that while managing costs and also keeping debt under control.
I think that's a very good question. The biggest benefit that we've had is from organic growth. And if I start on assets that we've invested in, number one has been, being a fishing business, you own lots of vessels. We own 65 vessels in our fleet. So the main thing was to start investing in more efficient vessels that will catch more fish at a cheaper cost. And we've bought 5 vessels and we've spent close to 600 million on optimizing our fleet. I think that's a big one for us. I think the second thing is making sure that you're investing in your facilities. We've built various powder plants in our dairy business to increase the throughput and the volume that we can process. So we look at various opportunities, and of course, number one is organic. And then we invest in terms of making sure that we've got sustainable earnings and margins going forward. But as I say, we have now, as you correctly said, we acquired many companies over the last couple of years. Integrating them has been very, very hard, and learning. And right now we're in a consolidation phase in terms of optimizing what we've bought.
All right, Felix, thanks so much for your time and just taking us through Sea Harvest operations. That was Felix Ratheb, CEO of Sea Harvest.